Hey, good morning. It's Dr. Brian McCarley with Genesis Family Chiropractic and bringing you another episode of Doc About Town. Today, we have a really special guest with us, Dr. Megan Landwerlen. Dr. Megan she's a pediatrician, and she practices what we call concierge pediatrics. What that means, I'm going to let her describe to you, but in a nutshell, my understanding is she goes and does home visits and sees her patients, her little people patients, in their home. So welcome, Dr. Megan.
Thank you.
Nice
Thank you
to,
for
nice
having
to
me.
have you, and nice to have you here, and nice
Yeah.
to meet you finally. So,
Yes, for sure,
I know
sure.
we talked a little bit in the preamble that your husband and I is a veterinarian, and he and I have known each other for a few years. I need to
Yes.
find a way to get him on one of these interviews
I
too.
know,
So
I know.
talk
He
to
told me
Jason.
last night, he was like, oh, I know him. He
Yeah.
was like, yeah, we were going to do it, but it just didn't happen for
Yeah, we
whatever
need to get our
reason.
schedules back together. So, well,
Yes.
welcome. I'm glad to
Thank
have you
you.
here. So, I'll start with you with the same way I start with all of our guests. Tell us a little bit about your backstory. I know you're trained as a medical doctor, and you're a
Yes.
pediatrician specialty.
Yes.
Tell us about where that came from, and how did you transition? Because you and I talked a little bit. You were working in a practice with other physicians, but now
Yes.
you've moved into concierge medicine. Give us your
Yes.
backstory there.
So a lot of it was precipitated by the COVID time when everything just kind of was crazy, you know, and I had some concerns about the COVID vaccine that were not shared by my partners or anyone else, you know, in the area that I knew of, although I've met so many cool people now that, you know, it's been really good. But anyway, I lost my job. I was at that practice for 19 years and had a great clientele, but the corporation that owned our practice was not okay with me questioning that narrative, and they fired me. So then I just obviously still needed a job, so I did contract work for a while, which was great, and spent some time just really researching and trying to understand just what had happened to medicine, what is the best path going forward. So concierge medicine, I think, has been around for a while. A lot of people do it. A lot of really good doctors, I think, do it to try to get away from the corporate influence, the corporate control that they feel and how they practice. For most doctors, the way that it's set up, they have to see a certain number of patients in an hour, which, if you think about it, it really does limit the amount of like true care that you're able to give to people.
Sure.
Because you're just like, and you feel like you have to, and then now with the Affordable Care Act, you have to do this electronic medical record charting, and so it's like click, 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 and some people say like, yeah, my doctor doesn't even look at me, they're just checking boxes, which is absolutely true. So I think a lot of people had left for that reason. Mine was a little bit different, obviously, because I was just trying to rebuild myself, but
Sure.
so concierge medicine is basically, so you still use insurance for like labs, ER visits, x-rays, stuff like that, but it gives you a closer relationship with your doctor. So, and you pay, most of them work by paying a monthly fee or just pay per visit, but it allows you direct access to your doctor. So like you have their cell phones, you can text them with questions, you know, send them a picture of a rash and like, what should I do? Should I go, you know?
Sure.
For me, I mean, I've always kind of been the kind of doctor, like so many people have my cell phone, and I was okay, because for me, truthfully, it's more of a calling. Like I do it because I feel thankful to God that he allowed me to be a doctor. And
Sure.
so I've kind of seen it that way as a calling, and just truthfully wanting to help people. So it's been an easy transition from that side of it, like just the access and talking to people and that kind of thing. And then it's just been like building up, because I'm not really a business type person. I'm not good at that. Like I couldn't sell a Rolls Royce for more than 10 cents because I just can't do it. I don't know why, it's just not my thing. So, but just working on that side of it. But just to keep my overhead low in the beginning, I decided just to do home visits, which has actually been great. Just especially for newborns and people that have like 3 kids under 5 that don't want to drag all of their kids to the doctor's office and get sick while they're there. And then again, it's just allowed me flexibility in how I practice. So I don't have to follow the protocols that my corporate organization is telling me that I have to do.
Sure. Sure. So that allows you the freedom to actually practice medicine the way
Yes.
you want to practice medicine.
Yes.
So that's great.
And yes.
When we were talking before, you mentioned, and you mentioned it now too, that what precipitated all this was the COVID crisis.
Yes.
And specifically the vaccine when it was introduced.
Yes.
Give us a little more insight into that. Kind of peel back the curtain a little bit there. And what were your concerns and what triggered you to say, I'm not sure about this?
So I think, okay, so generally speaking, pediatricians are a pretty easy sell on vaccines, right? Because that's kind of what, it's like a big part, we think like, oh, it's like transformed children's health. And I mean, I can see theoretically maybe, but I think that there was a lot of information that was hidden, and that's okay. You could edit that out because that's like, I mean, you can keep it in if you want, but I don't know. I'm going down a rabbit hole. So I think that most pediatricians were like, well, yeah, of course, a COVID vaccine, that's gonna be the answer, right?
Sure.
But I just started, I think just because there were so many inconsistencies in the narrative of like why we were shutting down, why we were, like having a mask on and a line at a restaurant, but then taking it off while we sat at the table. Like there was just so much that didn't make
Sure.
sense. So I was just really, and also my dad had died of COVID, so it was very personal to me. So I was like just researching, and I just started to see things that just made me nervous, right? Like all these athletes collapsing on the field, like peak health people that were having heart attacks, kids having strokes. That had never happened before. I mean, if it did, it was super rare. Just things that I was like, And then as I learned more about the mRNA platform and what they had done, one of the doctors who was trying to like get me on board, he was like, Megan, it's mRNA. They inject it in your arm. It's not stable. It doesn't last. It just dissipates. Well, that was not true, right? Because they had, mRNA is just a series of nucleotides, but they had put these, they call them pseudo-uridine end caps on it so that it doesn't break down.
Sure.
So it circulates in your body. There's no off switch. So it's just like, I mean, you basically become a spike protein factory. So I just had a bajillion questions about it. I could not in good conscience recommend it to my patients, especially the kids. And the company that I work for wasn't okay with that, so they fired me.
Sure. So tell me about some of the interesting things that you've seen in practice as a pediatrician, not just in concierge medicine, but also in your private practice that you were in before. Our viewers always like to hear about interesting things.
Oh, gosh.
What are some of the interesting cases maybe that you've seen?
Let's see. I think, what would be the most interesting thing? I would say what I've seen if you think about pediatrics as geared towards children's health, and just, I think what's made me is just this kind of like increase in chronic disease in kids, whether it's obesity or ADHD, lots of mental health stuff. I know this isn't really like very interesting, but it's been an interesting transition, right? Like it used to be just like ear infections, pneumonia, and then rashes and watching kids grow, but now it's a lot more management of those long-term things.
Sure.
So I think...
So let's move more from episodic type of things to more chronic type of things. You're seeing an influx of more
Right. Like I feel like kids are not healthier than they used to be.
Sure. I would agree with that.
And I think there's like a lot of factors, right? There's the screens, the EMF, the pesticides, the glyphosate that's sprayed all over.
Sure. You're starting to sound like a chiropractor. You should be really, really careful. I'm just kidding.
I know. Well, I think it's just like, I just think that, it's just for, in reference to your photo back there, everything is profit driven now.
Sure.
Right. So it doesn't really matter if it hurts people because, if it's going to make money, they just do it anyway. So,
wow.
So, and I just think that there's a lot of like dishonesty and corruption that I've seen in medicine that is very disheartening.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm just happy in a way, even though this whole 5 years has been super traumatic and I've probably gained 20 pounds and lost a few years of my life over the course of it. Like I just, I think I'm happier now because I'm learning so many cool things.
That's
so
awesome.
many cool things. Like I went to this conference called MAPS. It stands for the Medical Academy of Pediatrics and Special Needs. and it's all about like the biochemical and immunological background of like just ways that you can help kids that have like these chronic diseases. And it's so exhilarating because I'm like, oh my gosh, like before it, at Fisher's Peds, if you had a kid that came in with autism, all that you had to offer was ABA, right? Like, I'm sorry, here's some therapy, right? Like, there's nothing really in the literature, but the technology is like raced ahead, and there's so many things that, and herbal things and just different perspectives and ways of addressing it so I love being able to help people. That's what I want to do, is help people.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
So yes.
So if you had to pick who your ideal patient would be, ideal client would be, how would you describe that kiddo, but the family?
The family? I think, I don't know. I mean, I love them all, right? But I would say people that are motivated to be healthy.
Okay.
And because one of the things that's hard is if you are, trying to share information of how to be healthy and people don't do anything, right? Like, they're just like, I don't know that's like. No,
I think that's good. I think, and that's something that we've dealt with too. And part of the education we do in my practice too is, I think a lot of people, especially we as Westerners, we as Americans especially, we think of being healthy as being not sick.
Right.
Well, there's more to being healthy than being not sick. It's not just an absence of symptoms.
Right.
And I think if I'm hearing you, that's what you're kind of alluding to.
Right. It's thriving, right?
Right. Like, you don't want to just get back to zero from, I don't have symptoms. I don't have a sniffle. I don't have a fever. I'm cool. I don't have any symptoms. But how much more could there be? How much better could we be functioning and thriving, to use your word?
Right.
So that's kind of what you're looking for.
So those people that want to learn, people that are, I guess, I feel like most parents are, though,
Sure. Especially for the kids.
Right.
Yeah, maybe not for themselves, but for their kids,
for their kids, yes. They want their kids to be healthy.
Sure.
So.
Yeah.
So, so I think, I mean, I'm pretty open to different types of patients, but I love the babies. I love the little kids. I love teenagers, although I have 2 of them at home, so sometimes I'm like, but yeah, but I like them too.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's awesome. Tell me a little bit more about the type of care that you provide. What's your process look like? So when someone first reaches out to you and says, I think we'd like to become one of your patients, where do they go from there?
So usually they find me either through Dr. Green Mom or, what was the other? Oh, I did a Facebook ad. And so some people, of course, I messed that up because it says click here to do a 15-minute something and it doesn't work. Anyway, but so people find me and they go to my website and then there's like a click here for, that actually does work, for like a 15-minute consultation with Dr. Meg. So then it comes to my email and then I reach out to them and then usually we set up a phone call just to talk, just to make sure that it's what they're looking for.
Sure.
And then people either decide to do the join thing where they pay the monthly and basically that just covers all the visits and they can text me, call me with questions, that type of thing. Or people just want to just do pay per visit, right? Which I charge like $300 an hour for that, which is pretty standard for medical care. The part that I'm trying to sort of work through and figure out is just the logistics, I guess, right? Like, how far do I travel? How much do I charge for that? Do I, and right now, like legit, it's just me. So I'm doing like referrals and orders and writing my notes and all, it's kind of overwhelming, but I think that, I feel like God has been really gracious to me and it hasn't moved so fast that I was like drowning.
Sure.
It's like kind of like slowly I'm figuring it out. And so, I mean, I think most of my patients have been happy with it.
Sure. I assume they keep coming back, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so far.
If they didn't keep coming back, you probably know something's not right.
Yes.
That's cool. That's cool. Okay, so what is your website? What's the web address?
It's just kingdomkidspediatrics.com.
Kingdomkidspediatrics.com. Okay, I'll put that in the link on the description here so people can click on it and check you out that way.
Okay.
Anything else you'd like to add to want people to know about you or how you practice or?
Well, I tend to be more of a listener than a telling you what to do. Okay. And I don't want to, I see the parents as a team. We're a team. So I'm not I mean, the truth of the matter is if you think you know everything about everything, you've already lost the battle, right? None of us do.
Absolutely.
So, and I think the other thing that, like, again, this is sort of like the information age that I would just tell parents is I feel like a lot of parents who are perfectionists, they want to do everything right. And there isn't just one way to do anything, right? Like the most important thing is your kids are loved and safe, and you lead them to the Lord, and that's it, right?
Yeah.
Like
everything else is just details.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So, but I'm, I think I try to approach it more as like a partner in their care, because they are the parents. They know the kids. I'm only there for, however long the appointment is.
Yeah,
so.
a few minutes at a time.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Yeah, that's
So,
great.
Yeah.
Well, this has been a lot of fun.
Oh,
I've
good.
enjoyed getting to know you and your practice. I'm sure our
Yeah.
viewers are going to enjoy watching this, and hopefully they'll rewatch it multiple times, and hopefully someone will reach out to you. That'd be great.
Yeah,
So, great.
yeah,
Well, thanks
for
for being
sure.
here. I appreciate you taking the time to sit down with me and let's chat about this. This is
Yeah.
great. Thanks.
It was fun. Yes.
So-
Thank you.
Hey, thanks again for watching today. This is Dr. Brian McCarley with Doc About Town and Dr. Megan Landwerlen. And remember her website is kingdomkidspediatrics.com, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to check that out, check it out. If you have a need for an in-home pediatrician, she could be your go-to. So I want to thank Genesis Family Chiropractic and the Noblesville Elks Lodge for sponsoring Doc About Town and making this show possible to be able to bring this to you every week. So have a great day, and we'll talk soon.